Michelle, like I would never regret spending time connecting with you. I mean, like, there's so many distractions, right? And like, I can honestly say, like, that's something, like, the return will always be there.
Yeah.
And it's something, like, I can say, like, I would never regret, like, hey, let's shut off the show.
Yeah.
And let's eye to eye, like, let's talk.
Yeah.
This is Ryan and Michelle, and welcome to the Celebrate MarriageCast, where we hope to restore and reclaim godly marriages through honest and real conversations.
Welcome to episode 137. We're so glad you're joining us today, and we're really proud of you for making this investment in your relationship. Ryan, it's been quite the week for us.
It has been. Yes.
My week feels all thrown off. We usually record on Wednesdays, but today is a Friday. It's airing on a Tuesday, but our week's been thrown off. We had a funeral this week for your uncle.
Yeah.
It was heavy, and coming back, this show is just inspired by the week, but coming back, on top of that, the same day as the funeral, we were driving by a really large accident on the interstate. We counted 13 cars. I think the news started with like 8, 9, and now today it was up to like 10. So I think our count was probably pretty accurate with what we saw and counted, but just really like one of those that you drive by and you're like, oh my gosh, like the world totally changed for these people today. Like the cars were so banged up, and well, I'll explain more of it in a minute, but the long story short is their lives changed drastically that day. They probably did not wake up realizing the full spectrum of what was going to happen that day, but in a moment, their lives changed.
Yeah, I mean, I think none of them thought that life was about to change in that moment, just in a second.
Yeah, and we had this conversation, Ryan, about what if everything changed tomorrow? What if it changed tomorrow? So that is our premise of our show today. We're talking about that as it relates to your marriage. So, Ryan, we talk often about how really people say, how do you come up with shows every week and all the time? And really, it's just God gives us life. And this one is just something, more sad experiences that were lived through. But we had this funeral in Omaha, and that in itself was really kind of a sad deal. Your uncle had pancreatic cancer. It took him very, very quickly, a matter of months.
Yeah.
And just being at the funeral, I know you said this, that you felt like, just seeing people age and realizing the brevity of life.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely, it hits you, like I feel like it's been farther, like grouping my family together, having us all come together, those times get farther and farther apart.
Yeah. I mean, recently it's been funerals
basically,
or weddings,
right.
But it feels like more funerals lately, which is really eye-opening too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, as we were coming back, it was so dusty. I've never experienced anything like this on a road trip, but in South Dakota, we have blizzards in the winter where at any moment, if there's a bad storm, it could just be a whiteout, and we've experienced that as adults driving, whiteout conditions on the interstate. And you kind of know, getting on the interstate, I need to go slow. And at any moment, this wind could gust up and the snow is going to create this lack of visibility. But to experience that with dust was totally different. So to set the scene, it was incredibly windy, incredibly gusty. We're in the middle of what they're calling a drought going on right now. So the farmers have not yet put their crops in there, or if they've not sprouted yet. So you have all of this soil and this topsoil. I think those are the right words, but with nothing to hold them in, right? And that's how the Dust Bowl, way back in the day it was happening, is there's nothing to cover the ground. So this dust is flying around, and our big interstate I-29 is surrounded by fields and farmland. So it truly was the perfect storm of the weather, the wind, the dirt, where this dust and dirt were blowing around. And I have a few videos of us driving, and you can see it's almost like a smog or fog on the horizon, but it's dirt.
Yeah.
And as we drove further north, it got worse. And eventually we were stopping. We were slamming our brakes on, and there was backed up traffic. And the accident had happened 20 minutes prior. So things were just kind of backing up. And as we inched our way up to the scene, the other lane, the southbound lane of traffic had been diverted off of the interstate. And it just, you could see the accident as we drove by. And I just I started crying because just to see it, that lives are forever changed.
Yeah.
And just the fragility of it all.
Yeah.
And typically what I do if I ever see an ambulance or an accident, I just start praying. You know that.
Yeah.
I just our whole car is now like a prayer zone, and just praying as we drove by. And I was kind of just crying and emotional, just taking it all in, because you're seeing this car smashed into the end of a semi truck where it was so clear that car didn't even see that truck. They were smashed flat as a pancake. Another car was totally smashed flat as a pancake. Trucks and semi-trucks and, over a dozen cars involved in this, where just in that second, things changed.
Yeah.
And it really rattled us. And even the rest of last night, I was, checking the news and praying and just thinking about these families. And I'm like, gosh, each, for those dozen families, there were phone calls being made to brothers and sisters and moms and dads and spouses and to children and, to their workplaces. And hundreds of people were probably impacted by this. And we don't know at this point the outcome. There's been no press information about, the stability of the people involved. And it's just, you just think about that, forever change. Even if everyone, is stabilized now, I mean, you're still going to have health ailments, and you're still going to have that weight of what they went through. So we just had this conversation in the car of, wow, just like that.
Yeah, Michelle, it definitely shook us. I think both events, it's sort of, as I've reflected throughout the day here, of just when you think about just in a moment, it changed, the accident, literally second, 1 second, it lives are changed.
Yeah.
I think about my family. I think about with my uncle, it was 2 months. He was diagnosed, 2 months, he passed away.
Yeah. And you've lived this with the spouse before too, right?
Yeah. It's so it happens so quickly, and things can change so quickly. And I think that's just what's weighing on us here. And that's sort of the premise of what we want to kind of dive into today.
Yeah.
And just address, because it's real.
Yeah. I think it's not something that you think about every day, but when things like that happen, you witness something, or you go to a funeral, you just realize maybe it's not something we think about every day, but maybe it is something that we should think about more. So really, it's just this realization that we live like we have time, right? We live like we have time, and that we're going to get a chance to do things later, but it's not guaranteed. I'll apologize later. I'm just going to let this conflict hang because I can't deal with it, or I'm going to let them, kind of suffer through it a little more. And then I'll get to that later. I'll get to that next week, or when I'm ready. We'll go on that date eventually. Hey, it's really busy right now. We just got to push it back. It's a busy season. Work's busy. Yeah. We'll go on that date eventually. I'll say that encouraging thing another time. I'm not really in the mood for, I'm going to say it's a lot of work. I'll encourage them later. They probably know. I'll encourage them later.
Yeah, Michelle, I think the thing to realize later is not a promise. It's an assumption.
Yeah.
Later is not a promise. It's an assumption. We assume that time will come.
Yeah. Ryan, I think that one, you have a really unique perspective because you have been through some really life-altering things, but we build our marriages on the assumption without even realizing it. And I think one of the things that you went through a lot to get to the point, but I feel like you do see things differently. I don't feel like you live this way, but you also went through some things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have listeners that are probably newer, so I don't know if you would want to share what I'm referencing.
Yeah. So, just briefly, like, my first wife passed away from cancer, and it was a similar, we found out, started having some symptoms, some things going on in November, diagnosed in January, and passed away in April.
Yeah.
And so, like, you go through this, like, crazy things about, all of the things, all of the emotions, all of the things that happen, and then you start to look, you start to reflect. And one of the things that that I've shared with you, Michelle, a lot is I think when you start to let things get in the way of people, and you can fill in the blank with whatever that thing is, but when that starts to take away from the people in your life, I think that's one of the regrets that I have. And just even thinking about yesterday, thinking about seeing that, and just, really reflecting on that, of like, what things am I letting get in the way of the people in my life?
Yeah.
Because the people are what matter in your life.
Yeah.
Not the things.
I think for me, like, I thank you for sharing that, love. I feel like I tend to be a bit anxious and stressed about work and things like that. And I think to see and go through things like that, it's just another reminder of, like, the big picture of life. Like, typically work, those things will settle out, right?
Yeah.
Those things will work out. But, like, what am I missing in the process when I'm up here thinking about work or those stresses? I'm not giving my best to you guys. And it's interesting. I've actually been keeping, like, a journal of my days, and typically the things that I'm writing on Monday that I'm stressed about, by Friday they've worked out. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I just have to get it through my head that, like, hey, that stuff in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter as much as I think they do.
Yeah.
But the people that I'm not giving my full focus to in the meantime, those people do matter, and they will be here, and it will matter to them on Friday,
right,
like in those days. And I think you have been such a great example of just being fully present and engaged in our marriage. But I know that a lot of that you had a lot of reflecting and a shift from what you went through. So
Michelle, let's flip this. Like, what does this look like for marriage? Mm-hmm. One of the topics we talk a lot about is drift. And I think it's important to realize that most marriages don't fall apart because of one big moment. It's small things repeated over time.
Yeah.
And so, like, what does this look like? I mean, obviously distractions, like, there's a million distractions, whether that's technology, whatever, like, fill in the blanks, activities, whatever.
Work.
There's a million things that are pulling for our time that can easily distract us. I think our words matter. Mm-hmm. What we say, what tone we use, how we say things, the actual words we speak matter. Are your words uplifting, encouraging, or are they just sharp, and do they tear down? And really the other one, like, just lack of intentionality. I think of just, the thing that comes to my mind is just like cruise control.
Yeah.
Like, you just set it, and you're just going. You're not aware. You're not trying to do. You just are just kind of on autopilot, just cruising.
What's really interesting? Okay, so we were just talking about accidents and such, right?
Yeah.
In those situations, if you were on cruise, like, it actually would make that situation more dangerous, wouldn't it?
Oh, for sure.
Because you can't react as quickly.
Yeah.
Ryan, I agree with all those things that you said. So intentionality, we talk about that all the time, and just being distracted. And I think it's really just doing an audit of what is distracting me. You know, so again, the driving example, we know distractions are bad. People are so distracted when they're driving, but what is distracting you in your marriage? You know, it's the example that I gave of thinking, letting my brain be distracted by work thoughts, and is trying to find a way to separate that so that I'm fully present. And I think it's just like, I don't know, if something were to happen to like any of us in our family, I just know like I'd probably really beat myself up like for, you know, if I was super distracted one week or something, like I want our time to be quality.
Yeah.
And I think it's just thinking like, what if this is your last day? What if this is your last week as a family? Like, is this really the quality of life that you would want to be living? Or like to look back and be like, gosh, I was so distracted all the time by work, and like I was on my phone and I wasn't giving them my best. Right? Like, what do you want your life to look like? Like, really, truly. And I think, you know, I said it earlier that we live like we have tomorrow and all these tomorrows, but what if you didn't? Like, what if you didn't? Would you be okay with how you're living right now with the intentionality or lack of intentionality in your life, in your marriage, with your kids? Is thinking something kind and then saying it, right? It's doing the things. It's saying the words. It's doing the actions. It's apologizing when you need to. It's being intentional.
Yeah. Yeah. Michelle, that's so good. You know, I think, you know, going back, like we don't destroy relationships overnight. We neglect them slowly. And I think intentionality, we talk so much about that. And I think it's so easy for, you know, we've talked about this in our community group about how it's so easy to talk about seasons, right? Seasons of life.
Yeah.
It's a busy season.
Yeah. Yep. You've heard that a lot. Yeah.
I posed this question the last time we were there of how do you keep it as a season and not life?
It's a good word.
And I think it's really important of like, and I'm telling you this because like I'm guilty of this fully, of like, oh, I just need to decompress. I just need to, you know, watch YouTube videos.
Right. Isn't it crazy how often we can justify it to ourselves? Like, it's just been crazy. I just need to decompress, or it's just a season, or it's just this.
And then, you know, pretty soon you start to form a habit, and then it's, well, I need to scroll on my phone. Like it helps me to unwind.
Yeah, I mean, it's addicting.
And then pretty soon that's a week, that's a month, that's a life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so easy to justify, it's so easy to neglect because, you know, we think it's a season. And I understand there are seasons, but keep it a season.
You know, I think recently we made a good change. We had found a new show that we were watching, and it got to the end of the season, and we were like, we can't watch shows on weeknights. Shows have to be for Fridays,
right,
or Saturdays, and usually not Saturday because usually we're doing ministry stuff on Sunday. So we're like, Fridays have to be our movie night, no more during the week, because we were just realizing that it was taking longer, even if it's a 30, 40 minute show. I mean, by the time you go downstairs, you watch it, and then your brain has to kind of unwind. I was like, I don't think I'm sleeping great because of this. What we think is helping us to unwind. I actually see on my Garmin that if I watch a show before bed, then I'm not sleeping as well. If I'm not sleeping as well, my stress levels are higher. Like it actually really is impacting my quality of sleep and my quality of life really the next day, because I'm not recovering. So we've made this shift probably It's not like we were always doing that either. It's just like one of those things that we started to slip into, and we're like, what are we doing? Like, no more. This has to go away again. Because we had a really good tea habit. We'd, sit and have tea at night and read. And then, I don't know why we started watching a show, but we were like, nope, no more. So we haven't for probably a month, and it's been really good. I'm really proud of us. We have been going to bed earlier. We've been sleeping better.
Man.
I mean, life has been really good for us.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. I tell you what, this is a perfect example, because I thought to myself, I need to watch a show.
Unwind.
I need to watch a show to unwind. Well, it turns out you don't need to watch a show. But I feel like I was fighting it. I was fighting that.
And I was like, no.
Yeah.
No, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely.
We did good. I'm proud of us for that.
Yeah.
I think the question that we want you to take away from this show is just asking yourself that question. If everything changed tomorrow, what would really matter? Like, am I satisfied with how I'm currently living? Or are there things that I would change? Or are there things that I need to change right now? If things change, they could.
Yeah.
We never know. I mean, God alone knows.
Yeah.
And at any moment, things could change.
Yeah. I mean, here's just a truth, Michelle, like I would never regret spending time connecting with you. I mean, like, there's so many distractions, right? And like, I mean, I can honestly say, like, that's something, like, the return will always be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's something, like, I can say, like, I would never regret, like, hey, let's shut off the show.
Yeah.
And let's eye to eye, like, let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's hold hands. Let's embrace, like, whatever it is, like it's something that you will never look back on your life and say to yourself, oh, I wish I would have spent less time with loved ones.
Yeah.
Like no one ever says that.
Yeah. Or like, gosh, it's been a while since I've gotten kind of emotional on a show, but I think it's just been a lot this week. Taking that extra few minutes with your kids to, sitting with them and, saying a prayer with them at bedtime, or doing something special with them, or just not being distracted by work and life, and actually having a conversation with them, taking your kids on a date, taking your spouse on a date. I love that, Ryan. I don't know that a person would regret that. If you're loving well and you're having intentional conversations, if you're making amends, those aren't going to be things that you would look back and regret.
No.
Right?
Never.
They may feel hard to prioritize if you have work, but truly, if you looked back, which one are you going to be more glad that you were focused on? Yeah.
I mean, I think there's been so many studies on this of asking people, that are nearing death, or near, of regrets. And it generally comes down to not being intentional of spending time with the people they loved.
Yeah.
They let the things get in the way of the people.
So in closing, we have a challenge to do something today, not later, right?
Yeah, Michelle, that's so spot on. Say the thing you've been thinking but haven't said.
Mm-hmm. Apologize for something small that you've let sit and fester.
Yeah, and I think just, we've shared this so often, but I think there's power in this. Give your spouse 10 minutes of your full attention every day.
Yeah.
No phone, no distractions, just your undivided attention.
I appreciate that. We've shared that assignment in shows, 5-Minute Fridays, and you might think, 10 minutes, that's nothing. But I think I would ask you, are you doing that right now?
Yeah.
I have a 10 to 15 minute a day Bible habit. And let me tell you, some amazing things can happen in that time. And if you're really honest with yourself, like, are you really doing that right now?
Right.
So make sure you start with that and grow it from there.
Yeah, Michelle, we don't get to control how long we have, but we do get to control how we love.
So love well today. And I think, Ryan, that is exactly what we say here at Celebrate, right? Every weekend is meeting Jesus, having your life change, and then going and being Jesus, loving like he did, living like he did. And even looking at the Bible, Ryan, Jesus was never frazzled or running around, worried about things or stressed or hair on fire. He just had this peaceful cadence to his life because he was making time for the priorities. He had his priorities in order.
I don't think I ever read anywhere that Jesus ran anywhere.
Right. No, I don't think so.
No, he walked.
Yeah.
He saw people.
Yeah.
He loved people.
Yep. Had compassion and met their needs. Yeah. So ask yourself that question, what if everything changed tomorrow or today? And ask your spouse a question too, see if it prompts some discussion. So we're so proud of you for tuning in today and for making this investment. We hope that it's really created some thought-provoking just ideas for you as you're looking at how you're living your life and asking yourself that question. So we have resources at Celebrate.church/marriage. And if you don't have a church home, we would love to have you. You can find that information at Celebrate.church. Have a great week.
Have a great week.